take a close-up on each bowler. First of all, the challenger from Claremont, New Hampshire, Steve Vadney. And Danny, what do you have for stats on Steve?
Well, Steve carries an average of 129, 197 high single, 488 for high triple, and he qualified for the show with amazing 688 for a 5-string total.
Not too shabby at all. Our defending champ is a guy who's been in the winner's circle here on Big Shot Bowling some 6 times. So now let's check in on the stats with our defending champ, Bob Gregory. He's a good one.
Yes, he defeated John Lafko, 366, 327 last time he was on, and he carries 123 average, 465 for high triple, 183, and he qualified with a 624 a few months ago.
So we're looking for an exciting show here on Big Shot Bowling. It will be the champ, Bob Gregory, against challenger Steve Vadney. We'll be back with the first string, but first let's roll away for these commercials. Bob Foraker with Dan Murphy here on Big Shot Bowling, and to get it rolling is Steve Vadney. It's Steve Vadney taking on Bob Gregory in a 3-string match, and both of these bowlers are members of the World Candlepin Bowlers Congress.
Steve looking for the first mark of the match with a 2, 4, and 7, and right by the object pin being that deuce.
Steve Vadney making his home in Claremont, New Hampshire, and he lifts off with a 10 count. He's a past winner here on Big Shot Bowling, defeating Jack Ray.
Before losing to Barry Lang, and what a match that was, 370 to 369.
Vadney looking for a spare. Once again, he comes up a bit short. And back-to-back 10s for the challenger, Steve Vadney. Now here's our defending champ, Beverly, Massachusetts, Bob Gregory. Bob a bit off to the right on the first ball. His average of 123. Over the years, he has won 6 titles here on Big Shot Bowling. The winner will be receiving $200, the runner-up $100. Both bowlers will be receiving trophies from George Girton Trophy Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. And if a guy gets a triple strike, he'll win himself a trip for 2 to Atlantic City. And the big shot of the show, the winner gets a shot, well, actually, gets an opportunity to get the triple strike. And if he executes that, he will win himself a brand spanking new Thunderbird, compliments of Duddy Ford. And that's going to be an exciting thing to watch at the end of the show.
It certainly is. What that is the winner gets 1 box, 1 frame at the end of the match, trying to throw the triple.
Bob laboring in his 2nd frame. And he comes out of it with a 9 count.
We might mention, too, that if no one does hit the automobile throughout the season, we'll be keeping track of the highest frame, and there'll be a consolation prize given out at the end of the season. Not necessarily triple, but the highest pinfall in that extra frame that the champion gets to roll. Spread eagle.
Looking down at the birdie lead is Steve Vadney. Nice try by Steve. Steve's average this year, 129. Well, Dan, you've already had 1 stop on the WCBC Tour, and who are the winners?
Yes, and a repeat on the men's side. Again, last year's Bowler of the Year, Tom Olsta. This was held up in the Biddeford Lane, rollaway lanes in Biddeford, Maine, 1384. Runner-up this year in the first tour stop was Gary Carrington, and Rosario Lucchiera came in 3rd. Al Johnson, Jack Sanick, Bill Kerwin going down the top 10. Bill Gardner, Jack Quinn, Jack Ray, Mike Morgan. On the women's side, hold up just a second. Steve can grab this 10-pin first mark.
No.
Cost him. On the women's side, first-time winner from Concord, New Hampshire. She does her bowling at Botwell's Bowling Center. Janet Pock. I got our commercial in for Botwell's Bowling Center. The second, the runner-up to Janet Park was Joanne Rosano. I might mention Janet Park at 12.94, which is the lane record at Biddeford, the rollaway lanes at Biddeford. Marie Baldinelli. Betty Prey was 5th. Alice Bickford, the local favorite up there in Biddeford. Penny Brady from Manchester. Cal Moran. And tied for 9th and 10th, Joyce Frost and Lisa Orlandi.
Well, we'd like to congratulate the 2 winners and all the bowlers that took part in the first stop on the WCBC Tour here for 1987 and 88. Well, both guys are laboring here, as you can see on the scoreboard. Neither one has a mark, but I'm sure it won't be too long.
Inside 1-2 pocket leaves himself to 3, 5, and 9. 3, 5, 9 for a spare. No,
off target. So Bob Gregory looking down at the 3 and the 9. And he ends up with a 9 count. This the first of 3 here on Big Shot Bowling, showcasing Bob Gregory and the man you're looking at now, or will be looking at, Steve Vadney. Half Worcester right side. He just got a piece of the head pin that time.
See in the back there, the white collared shirt. That gentleman there is Steve's sponsor on the WCBC Tour, Leroy Kelly, Sunray Pools.
46 after 5 for Vadney. And Half Worcester on the left side, the 2 and the 8.
Both bowlers, a little slow start. Maybe it's from his summer vacation, Bob.
Oh boy. Vadney, he once had a high single of a 197 and a high triple of a 488.
Past New Hampshire state champ also, a couple of years in a row.
He knows what it's like to be in the winner's circle. In fact, one year he defeated you in the state finals.
Exactly. Boy, was he lucky that year.
Who was lucky this year?
Tim Lipke.
Lipke won the New Hampshire state title. And once again, the runner-up was my man Dan. Dan Murphy. Here's Bob Gregory hoping to convert for a spare. Yes.
Nice mark. 1-2 covers it perfectly for the first mark of the match.
I want to watch that one again. There it is.
Looking ball. 7, 8, 2, 4.
Loads up the spare with an 8 count, as Dan just said. And you just saw it. He's hoping to convert the 2-4 for another mark. Bob Gregory, lane 30. There he goes. Yes.
See the difference in the last couple boxes of Bob's form. And notice that follow through, that hand will snap up over his head. He picked the follow through up on that, covering the spare. But Bob's following through like that. He can be tough up there in the lanes. Steve knew immediately when he threw the ball that he was going to be off to the right. 4 horsemen, 1, 2, 4, and 7 with that sleeper in the back to 9.
Steve has had problem with his first ball.
Yeah, cleared the problem away. The 9 pin left the 7.
And a 10 count for Steve. Steve has been bowling candle pins for 16 years. And he's been on the WCBC Tour for 4 seasons.
Again, off target. Let's see if we can pick up something in Steve's delivery that this looks about the same. There.
Oh,
Nice
beautiful
mark.
shot. That was superlative.
Played it on the inside. Ball goes down and clears out the 7. Head pin does the damage on the 3, 6, 9, and 10. First mark, always the toughest.
Gregory leading by 8. He can add to it, and that he does, make it 16-pin advantage for the champ.
Another 8-pin drop. This time leaves the 2 opposite pins. Last time he left the 2-4. This time 3-6. Now you can pick up that follow through on Bob. Watch the right up over the head. Oh, on the object pin. Just too heavy.
Cost him a spare. Bob Gregory once had a high single of a 183. His best triple ever, a 465. Gregory on top here in the first of 3. He has it by 16. In the 1-3 pocket, but a very interesting leave, Dan. How would you go about executing that for a spare?
Well, the object pin's a 2-pin. He's got the 2-5 with a 7 and a 10. Ideally, you probably want to play the 2-pin on the left-hand side, have the ball clear the 7, the 2 and the 5 clear the 10. A little heavy on the 2. Got neither the 10 nor the 7.
The 7-10 are still standing. That's the old big shot we used to have at the end of the show, Danny boy. No one ever won it. We had a few close calls. I think John Zernicke was probably as close could be.
Oh, though Bob Gregory had one of his victories was very close to making it.
Here we go, the final 2 in the first.
Again, he's having trouble. Steve seems to have trouble on lane 29. Missing the head pin to the right.
See if he can get a spare. Yes!
Oh, off the wall.
Off the wall it went for the spare. And here it is again. Back-to-back spares now for Vadney.
That's the head pin. There's the head pin. Comes back to clear the 2 and the 4 for the mark.
Back live on lane 30. Drop of 7. So he gets a 7 fill.
Again, this looks a lot worse than it is. The problem here, I think, is, of course, he's got to hit the 2-pin. The problem could be the 7. The wood seems to be angled enough to clear the 10. And there goes the 10. Nice shot.
3 spares in a row now for the challenger, Steve Vadney.
I don't believe Steve wanted to hit this first front piece of wood, but he did, and just enough to carry that 10 pin.
Here he goes. The last ball of this string. And he loads it up with a 9.
Little difference. The last few boxes found the range, found his spot on the approach. Just hitting that head pin with that first ball. Result, spare 6, spare 7, spare 9 for 117.
Came out of it pretty good after having a weak first half. And here's Bob Gregory. Bob with a 90, leading by 9, but he's opposite spare 7, spare 9. Oh, baby. As soon as it left his hand, he knew it. He was the first to know. Bob with a disappointing 7 and a 97.
Needs a mark. In fact, he needs 20 bucks. Spare, strike, strike, spare to even the matchup. Heavy on the head pin.
Well, unless he comes up with a superlative shot, Steve Vadney will take the lead into the second string.
Try to split the 3 and the 6.
Vadney's 117 will win the first string. We've had 5 marks between both guys. Back-to-back 7s, very disappointing back-to-back 7s. And a total of a 104. So there it is after one string. The challenger, Steve Vadney, has the lead over the champ, Bob Gregory, with a 117 to a 104. We'll be back with the second string. So stick around for more action here on Big Shot Bowling. Bob Foraker with Dan Murphy. We're ready to lift off the second string between the champ, Bob Gregory, and the challenger, Steve Vadney. And here is Robert Gregory from Beverly, Mass. And he is trailing. Down by 13.
13 pins, but a long ways to go.
He had a 104, and Vadney had a 117. At times, both guys were really struggling in that first game. Bob is striding up again with a little bit of a struggle. Oh, nice shot. Nice out for the 10 count. Pretty shot. Let's watch that one again. Might we label it superlative, Dan?
Well, it borders on that, yes. Okay, we'll give it to him.
A nice 10 count. Here's Bob dumping over 5.
All right, pulling that ball to the left. Got to be on that head pin for the first ball at least 90% of the time. The score in this game. It's a tough game. We don't hit the head pin with the first ball.
Oh, yes. Nice spare.
4 horsemen, 1, 3, 6, and 10 with the 8. And here's the replay.
Look the same in the replay.
Words can't describe it, Bob. Another mark.
That's the 3rd spare for Gregory. Vadney en route to his 117 had himself 3 spares, coming all at the end.
Just looking at a legitimate spare leave here with the 3, 6, and 10. Again, stumbled at that line, kind of rushing the foul line a little bit, losing his balance.
The father of 2 gets a 10 count. Once again, the winner of this match will have a shot at a Thunderbird, compliments of Duddy Ford. All he'll have to do is get the triple strike.
That's going to be exciting.
It is.
Especially when they throw that first one. 6 and 9, piece of wood. Looks pretty favorable. Just drive the wood straight back.
This is Riley's duck soup, and there it is. The spare number 4 now for Steve Vadney, the first in this string. He had 3 in the first. Here's the champ, a past 6-time winner here on Big Shot Bowling, Bob Gregory, the father of 2. And he dropped 7. He has his 2 children here cheering for him, son Brian 3 and Elizabeth 6, along with his wife Diane.
3, 6 with 7, trying to carry the ball off the wood. Nice shot.
Oh, yes.
Ball almost decided to go up over the 7 pin. Watch, it gets the 7 on the way up.
Got it again. Oh.
Just above that red line, 3/4 of the way up the pin.
Make a mental note of that.
Nice shot.
Oh, there's a nice hit right in the 1-3 pocket, and he's looking down at the 2 and the 8, and it's not going to be easy.
Well, he's going to have. It's better to have a piece of wood or 2 when you're shooting at the 2 and the 8 or the 3 and the 9. He's going to the left, miss the object. Without the wood, you've got to be flush on the 2 pin, drive it straight back into the 8. Very difficult shot.
And a 9. 54 after 4 for Bob Gregory, the second game. He had a 104, and Vadney had a 117 in the first. Drop of a half dozen for Steve.
Steve continues to have trouble in that lane 29. 3, 6, 10 with the 8.
Over the years, these 2 guys have won a lot of championships and numerous tournaments that they've participated in. However, neither one of them have won on the WCBC Tour, but they've bowled well.
They have. In fact, the fellow you're looking at now was 7th overall last year's ratings. Although he didn't win an individual tournament, he was consistently there, consistently cashing. To finish in the top 10 is quite an accomplishment in itself. It's very, very difficult to win one of those tournaments.
You're a past 3-time winner, I believe, Dan.
That's correct. When you look at a fellow like Tommy Olston, I think that's his 7 or 8 championships that Tommy has won. And, well, if he's not the toughest man in the game right now, I don't know where the other fellow is, but Tommy is on the top of the game. He's always there. I figure if you can beat Tommy in a tournament, you usually cash.
So now it's a 12-pin advantage for Gregory in this string. And in the match, he's down by 1. but he just had a very frustrating ball. The gentleman you see with the white hair sitting down in the background is Bob Gregory's dad, one of his biggest fans. And that's his mother along there? Yeah. Mom is off in the white sweater. It's a family sport, candlepin bowling, and it's nice to see the family come out and support a member of the family when they're doing candlepin bowling battle here on Big Shot Bowling, or candlepin bowling battle anywhere for that matter.
Bob has climbed back to be within 1 pin of Steve Vadney. After 4 boxes, after 4 completed boxes.
The 5, 7, and the 10 with a little bit of lumber off to the right.
Got a double piece of wood in front of the 10. I'm sure he's probably going to play that, hope another piece of wood in the channel, so it could come off the wall for him. Let's see what happens. Yes.
No.
Nice try.
Yes, very good try. And a 9 count for Bob. After 6, he has a 70 in the second. Here is Steve Vadney, lane 29. Right in the 1-2 pocket, but
that time he was on the head pin, but didn't get much to show for it. 3, 6, 4, and 7. I don't think the wood will cover the 3 pin either, so it's going to be a tough shot.
oh,
Nice try.
Almost came up with it.
He knew he had to cut the 3 into the 4 and 7, but the wood cost him from carrying the 6 pin. Nice 10.
He spanks it down for a full house.
Still leads by 4 pins. He's
That he
opposite
does.
9.
Light hit on the 1-3 pocket, and he tips over 6. Let's see if he can scramble him up for a spare.
2, 4, 8, and 9. On that object pin being the 2 pin. Nope, slides by the object. I've seen Steve sharper. In fact, I've seen both bowlers a lot sharper than they have so far in the match.
At a 10 count, and we're going to take a break right here on Big Shot Bowling after 6 frames in the second game. There it is, 70 for the champ and a 62 for Vadney. And Vadney leads it by 5 after 16 frames. Bob Foraker with Dan Murphy back here on Big Shot Bowling, and to get it rolling is Bob Gregory. He leads in this string by 8, but in the match he's down by 5. In the first string, the champ had a 104, and the challenger, Steve Vadney, had a 117.
That's interesting to see. Bob just kind of shook his hands like, what's happening? His ball usually breaks a little bit from right to left. His lanes were refinished not too long ago. So it could be the conditions of the lane. They're just not used to the balls not breaking as much as they're normally used to.
It's a 10 count. So an 80 after 7 for Bob Gregory in the second. You can see after a half dozen, 62 for Steve.
Yes. Turn that one over. Saw that ball break sharp from right to left.
Here's the first strike of the match, and it's off the bowling of the champ, Bob Gregory. There it is again.
Trips the 4 pin for the strike. Beautiful ball going in there. First strike of the match by either bowler.
And there it is, another strike, this time off the bowling of Steve Vadney.
We get one more, we give a car away?
No, we give a trip to Atlantic City if we get a couple more. Off the bowling of Vadney, going for the double. However, you're right, Dan. If we get a triple at the end of the show,
it's going to be
by the champ.
By the same person.
By the same guy. You got it right.
I've got it now.
He'll win himself a brand spanking new Thunderbird compliments of Duddy Ford, Route 9 in Westboro.
Oh, nice out. One head
yes.
7, 9, and 10. Lots of lumber cleared it away from 10. Well, looking for a double here.
Here we go. Let's see if this gentleman can strike out in the name of Bob Gregory. Looking for the double.
Looks good.
Ooh.
Nothing touch that 4 or the 7.
A piece of wood caught the other piece and brought it away. One was flying that way, but the other one that was flying the other way, they met in midair. Otherwise, he probably would have had the double. A great ball. He's looking for the spare and the strike.
Waiting for a piece of wood to settle down.
Got to settle in down there. You can't shoot it rolling wood. Here goes Bob.
Ooh.
No, he missed it. He is upset.
I really think the conditions of the lane just took another bite out of Bob's game. Ball sliding a little bit more than usual. And again, waiting for that ball to break, and it's not doing it, or not doing it as much as it usually does with Bob Gregory's style.
So Bob is trailing by 3 in the match. He's up by 10 in this string. Well, this past summer, Dan, they had the ICBA, and you can tell us what that's all about, the ICBA, and some of our dear friends were inducted into Candlepin's Bowling's Hall of Fame.
Right, the International Candlepin Bowling Association, and the 16th annual Hall of Fame inductees.
And who were they, Dan?
Well, go through some of them. Herb Berman, which is a former member of...
That's Dr. Herb Berman.
Right.
And a 115, by the way, for Gregory, coupled with a 104. That gives him a 219, a very disappointing 219.
Joe Como, Don Gillis, Earl McCauley, John Lefty Mitchell, and the late Emilio Perella. But the one that most of our fans would definitely recognize is on the women's side is Stacia Zernicke, wife of Tony Zernicke.
Yeah, the first lady of Candlepin Bowling.
Exactly, and I just question why it took so long.
Yeah, I do too. Another spare for Vadney.
Still competing and still does very, very well. And I guess we can honestly say it's going to be quite a few years before there's another one of caliber Stacia Zernicke.
Oh, there's a big one, the strike on the spare. And here it is in the replay.
Just when Bob Gregory seems to make a run at Steve Vadney, Steve comes back, spare strike, looking for the double.
No go.
No, but he'll increase his lead.
Does that mean if Don Gillis got inducted into the Hall of Fame that if I last that long, they'll put me into the Candlepin Bowlers Hall of Fame?
Geez, I would seem to think that's probably what's going to happen, Bob. I think they may have another fame for you, though.
There it is after 2, a 244 to a 219. Vadney on the plus side. We'll be back with the final string, so stick around for more exciting action on Big Shot Bowling. Back to the action, and getting it going is the man who has the lead by 25 pins, Steve Vadney. This the final game.
Well, there's on the head pin finally in that lane 29. Leaves himself an 8-pin, wants the wood to get out of the way.
Vadney
Clear
looking
shot
for the spare. He has 2 strikes and 5 spares so far. Make it 2 strikes and a half dozen spares now. First string, Vadney had a 117. The second, a 127. For Gregory, he lifted off with a 104. Last string, he had a 115. Here's the fill in the mark.
Looks good, too. Brooklyn side, 1-2 pocket. Leaves himself to 3, 5, and 10 for a 7 fill.
See if Steve can execute this for a spare. Looks good.
Oh, right around the 10-pin.
Wrapped it around.
Robbery.
Highway robbery. Candlepin Bowling robbery. And a 10 for Steve Vadney,
Yeah,
man from Claremont, New Hampshire.
Bob's got his work cut out for him. Got to start stringing him early now.
Here's the defending champ, Bob Gregory. Bob, over the years, has won 6 times here on Big Shot Bowling. There's the diamond leave or the bucket leave, whichever you prefer.
2, 4, 5, and 8. looks good. Kicks the bucket.
That is a tough one.
It certainly is. Usually you'll leave the sleeper in the back, or you're heavy on the front pin and leave the either 4 or the 5. But he's trying to at least match the mark that Steve Vadney started off with, and then trying to cut into the deficit. Wants that 5 to go. Oh, could have a shot. Yes, he's going to.
It's there.
Well,
see if
it
he can
is.
get it.
It's got much to shoot at. Going to play the wood in front of the 5, slide the 5, hopefully into the 7.
Here he goes, Bob Gregory.
It's good.
Yes, sir.
Long ways from over.
Back-to-back spares for the champ.
Very well executed. Wood into the 5. The wood carries over into the 7. Spare 8, spare. So he's cut into the lead by 1 pin, and plus the fill when he gets up.
Vadney dumping over 8. He's looking down at the 3 and the 5 for a
3 and a 5 now. He's got a difficult shot because of the wood. He may cap that. The ball may go around the 5 pin. No.
Oh, beautiful
nice
shot. Spare number 7 for Vadney, along with a couple of strikes as we peek at it again.
The wood behind might have helped a little bit. Good spare.
Well, for those of you who might be new to big shot bowling here on the New England Sports Network, we'll give you some of the records that are held. The high single is held by Tom Surratt, a 180. The high triple, a 467, strings of 160, 140, and 167, held by the man who's working with me today, Dynamite Dan Murphy. And the most wins over the years, we have Tom Surratt with 10, most consecutive wins, Tom Surratt with 8. And the record for the most spare ones, we have Dan the Man Murphy. He had back-to-back spare ones. And Dan, that's a record
I tell you,
I know you're mighty proud of.
Well, you know, you got to sacrifice yourself to get into the record books, and I really sacrificed myself getting into the record book for that.
Oh, my God. Did you ever? Well, here's Bob Gregory trying to keep his title. He's down by 18 in the match. He leads by 7 in this game. Gregory from Beverly, Massachusetts. He carries an average around of a 123. His best high single, a 183. His best 3, a 465. Well, let's see where that wood goes. It's not going to help him.
No, he's going to have to do it all on his own. 1, 4, 7 with the 9. Object pin being, of course, the head pin. Oh, nice try. Try to go inside, have the ball go down and clear out the 4 and 7, and hopefully the head pin take the 9, but all for naught. Oh boy, that's a mistake there. Yeah, it was opposite an 8 box. He could have gained some on count. So instead of being ahead in this string, he drops another pin to Steve Vadney.
So Steve in the driver's seat. Steve, a past champ on big shot bowling. He beat Jack Ray.
Next week's challenger is going to be Don Richmond from Holbrook, Massachusetts.
He's a good one.
Oh,
there's
nice
a good
shot.
one. Oh,
Nice shot.
nice spare.
Every other
watch
box.
It again. The 8th spare in the match now for Vadney, along with a couple of strikes.
Just twirls around to clip that kingpin to 5. And 6 more.
He has a double tandem, the 4-7 and the 6-10. This is a very difficult shot.
Playing the 6 and 10, the wood. Not much to do with that one.
And a 10 count for Steve, the man who hails from Claremont, New Hampshire. The winner of the show will be picking up a couple of $100. The runner-up, 100. If a guy gets a triple strike, he wins himself a trip for 2 to Atlantic City. Whoa. Compliments of Fresh Pond Travel.
Boy, whoa.
This is a tough one, huh?
Flush on the head pin.
That's not the way to go to Atlantic City.
No. Took out the 1, 3, and the 9.
And both bowlers.
Oh,
whoa! What a superlative! superlative spare.
That was superlative.
Oh,
No
my.
doubt.
Let's see if we got that one again, baby. Here it comes. Hold on.
Plays the cluster of 5 in the left-hand corner. And watch the 2-pin. Over. Clears out that 6 and 10. It was that quick. Wow.
And looking to fill it with...
wants that 4-pin to go and hopefully take the 7. Well, another tough shot. 3, 6, 4, and 7. He matches Steve Vadney's spare 6, but he's got to get one of his own. He's opposite of 10, as you can see there. Trying to split the 3 and the 6.
Here he goes, Bob Gregory. On lane 30.
Well, a good ride.
I'd also like to point out that both bowlers will be receiving trophies from George Girton Trophy Center, and they're located in Worcester, Massachusetts. And of course, this season, we have a new big shot at the end of the show, and we'll be telling you all about that when we come back. But first, let's take a break right now here on Big Shot Bowling. Back we come to the final 4 now. It's Steve Vadney against Bob Gregory, and Vadney leading it by 1 in this string and leading in the match by 26.
Wow, he really missed badly with that one to the left. Removed the 4, 7, and 8. Like nothing more to put another mark up. Keep the pressure on Bob Gregory.
Dan, tell the viewers about the big shot at the end of the show this season.
Okay, the big shot is going to be well, actually, for the winner of the show, he's going to get 1 frame, 1 box. If he can throw a triple strike, he'll win himself a brand new Ford Thunderbird.
You got it.
If he doesn't, we keep track of the highest total in that box. And we'll have a nice consolation prize, I believe a nice television. Be rewarded if we don't give the car away. So it's going to be exciting. They'll alternate lanes starting on lane 30. If they get a mark, of course, they'll fill it on 29. That's the big shot, triple strike.
Yeah, the big shot of Big Shot Bowling is John E. Liggums, and he's the one who came up with that idea.
That's right.
He wants to give away a Thunderbird.
He is the big shot.
And there is a 10. So a 94 after 8.
Left Bob Gregory some room. No marks in the 7th and 8th with Steve Vadney. Down by 26. Needs 3 real good spares. Hoping Steve doesn't get any, so he's got 4 boxes to do it.
He's hoping to get one right here. So far in the match, Gregory has 7 spares along with a strike. Vadney a couple of strikes and 8 spares.
2-5 with a 7 and the 8. Piece of wood in there to help. Got to be on the 2-pin. Looks good.
Yes.
It's good. There's one of them. That's opposite. A 7 box, too, so he gains 3 and count.
Spare number 8 for Bob Gregory, and they're all big and they're all under pressure right now.
That puts it down to 23 minus a ball.
So Gregory hoping to get another mark.
Oh, a little full.
Big 5 lead. It can be had, but it's not easy. In fact, just the other night, I executed this a couple of times. Then I woke up.
Pushing the reset button, I know. Uh-oh, look at this. Look at...
Oh,
wow.
Great try. Oh, you could see it developing.
Look good going down. Cut the 3, just missed the 4, clip the 7. Well, the only thing to do now is to hope Steve doesn't throw a mark up there, and he's still going to have room.
Down to the final 2 for each guy. The challenger, Steve Vadney, in the driver's seat, leading by 18 in the match. He's down by 7 of the string, but it's total pinfall for 3 that counts, as you all know.
Off the target again with Steve. 1-3, 7-10.
Oh, Nelly. Oh, Nelly. Hold on, everybody.
Almost. Got the 1, 3, and the 7. Piece of wood came over right in front of the 10. That's good.
And a 10 count. And a 104 with 1 to go. First string, Vadney had a 117. Then he soared up to a 127. For Gregory, it was a 104, and then jumping up to a 115. Drop of 7.
Well, regardless of what happens, Bob is definitely going to have a shot. If Steve was to get a mark here, it means double strike time for Bob Gregory. If he doesn't, he's going to need 2 monstrous marks. Down by 18.
Double strike time coming up for Bob Gregory after the superlative spare and pressure pack spare by Steve Vadney. Vadney coming up with a big spare. He now has 9 spares. And oh, baby, did he want that one. And he got it.
18 pins ahead.
And he fills in with a half dozen. And a total, as you can see, of a 120. And a 3-string count of a 364. Here's Bob Gregory. He needs the double to stay in the running.
Needs 44 pins. Needs a double strike.
We're going to have a new champ, and his name is going to be Steve Vadney from Claremont, New Hampshire. And he'll be the first man ever in the history of big shot bowling to get a shot at the automobile with the triple strike.
Oh! He's still alive. He can still throw some strikes here in the last box.
You mean we buried him prematurely? Well, a great, great shot then.
Now it's crunch time. Nothing but strikes.
All the way. Here we go.
That'll do it.
Well, as I said a couple of moments ago, the champ is Steve Vadney from Claremont, New Hampshire. I apologize for being a bit premature, but that happens sometimes when you take a mental vacation.
Sometimes when you're bowling for $10,000, people do that. So, you know, it happens to the best of them, Bob.
I only went off your cue, Dan. Let's give credit where credit's due. There it is. An 8 count and a total of a 124 for Mr. Bob Gregory as he was dethroned by Steve Vadney. Bert Perangeli putting up the final count. 364 for the new champ, Steve Vadney, and a 343 for Bob Gregory. Stick around. And if Vadney gets the triple strike, he'll win himself a brand spanking new Thunderbird. The new champ is Steve Vadney. He'll have a shot at the Thunderbird. But before he does that, we're going to talk with the runner-up, Bob Gregory. And Bob, I know it wasn't your day, 343. You're not happy, but you're going to pick up $100 and a trophy from George Girton Trophy Center.
Yeah, Steve, Steve bowled well enough to win. Neither one of us were very good today. I mean, I didn't bowl, bring my very good bowling with me. Too many splits on alley 30. We got everything working on 29, but as soon as we got to 30, we just punched right through, 3 and 2, 3 and 2. I mean, a couple good shots, but not very many.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, Bob, there's another one to add to your collection. I'm sure you'll be back to see us again. I thought you had that 3 and 2 in the 9th box, and that would have put a little more pressure on Steve, but that's the name of the game.
That's just like that single I hit last year where we were still moving about 6 inches.
That's right.
Let's see if the champ can get that Thunderbird.
Let's hope he can.
Okay, let's go. Steve Vadney going after the Thunderbird. All he has to do is get a triple strike right here on Big Shot Bowling. Here he goes, looking for the strike. Come on, let's go. No Thunderbird, but he's going after an Amagip. He needs a spare right here, Dan, for the Amagip.
That's true.
Oh, no, he got one more ball coming up. And a 10 count. Come on over, champ. Let's have a nice round of applause for our new champ. Here he is, Steve Vadney. Steve, nice bowling. I know you're not overly excited about the 360 plus, but you're still driving the tractor, huh?
Yeah, still.
A win is a win, right?
Right. Any way you can get it. But like Bob said, neither one of us were on our game today, and I got a couple more breaks than he did.
You'll be back next week.
Next week, Don Richmond's going to join us, and he'll be a tough opponent for you, I'm sure, Steve. And I think bring a little better with you, will you?
I hope so.
Stay right here, Steve. We're going to wrap it up. This is Bob Foraker for Dan Murphy and our new champ, Steve Vadney. Thanking you so much for being with us on Big Shot Bowling and inviting you back next week for more exciting action. See you then.